Noah Reed never feared elevators until that night. When the doors closed inside an empty office tower, he thought he was alone. He was wrong. Noah Reed was alone in the office. It was almost midnight and the whole building was silent. All the other employees had gone home hours ago. The big glass windows showed a dark city outside, with only a few lights glowing in the distance. Noah sat at his desk, finishing an important report for his boss. The soft sound of his keyboard was the only noise in the huge room. His coffee had gone cold, and he felt tired, but he wanted to finish his work before leaving. The air felt strange, too quiet. Even the usual hum of machines seemed gone. Noah kept looking around, feeling like someone was watching him, but there was nobody there. He laughed at himself, thinking he was just tired. Finally, after one more email, he closed his laptop. He packed his bag, turned off the desk light, and walked toward the elevator at the end of the hallway. His footsteps echoed in the empty corridor. Everything felt too big and too silent. When he reached the elevator, he pressed the button. The doors opened slowly with a metallic sound. Noah stepped inside, ready to go home, never knowing this would be the last normal moment of his life. Noah Reed stepped inside the elevator and pressed the button for the ground floor. The doors closed slowly behind him with a soft thud. He leaned back against the cool metal wall and let out a long sigh. Finally, it was time to go home. The elevator started moving down smoothly. For a moment, Noah just stood quietly, staring at the floor numbers as they changed. He could feel the tiredness in his body. He thought about going home, taking a shower, and sleeping for hours. But then something strange happened. The elevator lights flickered for a second, like a small power cut. Noah frowned and looked up. The lights went back to normal, but that small flicker made him feel uneasy. As the elevator continued, Noah suddenly felt something, a cold breeze on his neck. It was quick, like a small gust of wind, but how could there be wind inside a closed elevator? He slowly turned his head and looked around. The elevator was empty. Just him and his bag. The metal walls reflected his own face, tired and pale under the fluorescent light. He took a deep breath, telling himself it was nothing, maybe just the air conditioning. But then he remembered something. The air conditioning in the building had been turned off hours ago. Noah shook his head, trying to ignore the thought. He stood still, gripping his bag a little tighter. His eyes moved to the corners of the elevator, scanning every shadow, but there was nothing. Then, just before the elevator could reach the next floor, the lights flickered again, longer this time. The walls seemed to darken for a second, and in that darkness, Noah thought he saw something, a shape, like someone standing in the far corner. When the lights came back, the corner was empty. Noah's heart started to beat faster. Noah stood frozen after the lights flickered. He told himself it was nothing, maybe just a power fluctuation. But deep inside, he felt uneasy. His heartbeat was faster now. He looked at the floor display. It showed 5. The elevator was still moving down slowly. He tried to calm himself. "Just relax," he whispered under his breath. But then, without warning, the elevator jerked hard and stopped. The sudden movement almost made him fall. His bag slipped from his shoulder and landed on the floor with a thud. Noah stared at the control panel. All the buttons were glowing, but nothing happened. He pressed the ground floor button again. No response. He pressed it harder. Still nothing. The elevator didn't move. Then, the main lights turned off completely. For a second, Noah was in total darkness. His breath caught in his throat. The only sound was his own breathing, fast and shaky. After a few seconds, a dim red light came on from the emergency bulb above. The small space now looked darker, almost bloody under the red glow. Noah picked up his bag quickly and reached for his phone. He opened the flashlight and tried to call someone, but the screen showed no service. He tried again. Still no signal. Then he heard it. A sound. Faint at first, but clear. Breathing. Slow, deep and raspy, like someone inhaling through a broken throat. The sound didn't come from him. It came from behind him. Noah froze. His heart pounded so loudly he could hear it in his ears. He didn't want to turn around, but his body moved slowly, his head turning to the corner behind him. There was nothing, just the empty metal wall reflecting his own scared face. But the breathing didn't stop. It was still there. Louder now. Noah stood completely still, trying to listen carefully. The breathing sound was real. It was not in his head. Slow, long, and raspy, like something struggling to breathe. His hands trembled as he gripped his phone tighter. He shone the flashlight around the elevator. The beam of light moved across the metal walls, the buttons, the ceiling, and the floor. Nothing. He took a shaky breath and whispered to himself, "It's nothing. I'm just imagining it." But deep down, he knew it wasn't his imagination. Then, as he turned the light back toward the far corner of the elevator, he froze. Something was there. At first, it looked like a shadow, tall and thin, standing silently in the corner. Noah blinked, thinking it was a trick of the dim light. He lifted the phone higher, aiming the light at the shadow. What he saw made his heart stop. It wasn't a shadow. It was a figure. The thing was impossibly tall, its head almost touching the elevator ceiling. Its arms hung down like long ropes, too long for a normal human. The head was tilted to one side at an unnatural angle, as if the neck was broken. Noah couldn't see its face clearly, only pale, glowing eyes that stared at him without blinking. His throat went dry. He wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The creature didn't move. It just stood there, staring. Silent. Then, slowly, its head tilted even further, the bones in its neck cracking loudly in the quiet space. Noah stepped back, pressing his body against the wall, his phone shaking in his hand. He tried to press the emergency button again with his other hand, but the creature took a step forward. It didn't make a sound when it moved. No footsteps. No noise. Just silence, and those glowing eyes locked on him. Noah's hands were shaking so badly that he almost dropped his phone. The flashlight beam wobbled as he tried to keep it steady, pointing at the thing in the corner. The creature didn't move quickly. It moved slowly, as if it enjoyed watching him panic. One long leg slid forward, then another. Each step made no sound, but the elevator groaned slightly, like the weight inside had doubled. Noah's breathing grew faster. His heart hammered in his chest. He pressed the emergency button again and again with his free hand, his thumb hitting it so hard that it hurt. Nothing happened. The button just clicked uselessly. He opened the panel and pulled at the wires in desperation. Still nothing. The elevator stayed dead. Then he tried his phone again. He opened the call screen, praying for even one signal bar. But it still said no service. He tried texting his friend anyway. Help. Stuck. Elevator. The message didn't send. He looked up again and almost dropped the phone. The creature was closer now. Just a few feet away. Its head still tilted unnaturally, but its body was moving toward him without a sound. Noah stumbled back until his back hit the elevator wall. There was nowhere else to go. He was trapped in a metal box with this thing. The light from his phone shook across its body, revealing details that made Noah's stomach turn. The creature's arms were long and thin like sticks, but the fingers were sharp, ending in black, claw-like tips. Its chest looked sunken, like it hadn't eaten in years. And its face, what little he could see, was shifting, like smoke trying to form a human shape but failing. Then the elevator jerked violently, as if something heavy had slammed into it from outside. The lights flickered, and the walls creaked loudly. The creature stopped moving for a second. Then it slowly grinned, revealing broken, jagged teeth that didn't look human at all. Noah pressed himself as far back against the elevator wall as he could. His breathing was fast and shaky. His phone light trembled in his hand, the beam dancing across the creature's pale, shifting face. Then it spoke. A deep, distorted whisper filled the elevator. The sound was broken, like several voices speaking at once. Noah couldn't understand the words at first, until he heard his name. Noah. The sound froze his blood. He hadn't said his name out loud. How did it know? Noah's throat went dry. WH. What do you want? His voice cracked, barely a whisper. The creature didn't answer. Instead, it moved closer. Each step was slow, but silent, almost floating across the floor. Its head tilted more, the neck cracking loudly with each shift. Noah raised his phone higher, the flashlight hitting its face. For the first time, he saw its mouth clearly. A wide grin stretched across its thin face, full of jagged, broken teeth that looked sharp like glass. Suddenly, Noah felt something cold on his neck. He froze. The creature's hand, long, bony fingers with black, claw-like nails, was resting on his skin. The touch burned with icy coldness, making goosebumps rise all over his body. Noah screamed and swung his phone at it, hitting its arm. The phone clattered to the floor and the light spun wildly across the walls. Darkness filled the space again, except for the faint red emergency light. The creature moved faster now. In the red glow, Noah saw its arms stretch unnaturally long, reaching for him from across the elevator. He pressed against the wall, kicking and punching, but it didn't stop. One clawed hand grabbed his wrist with crushing strength. The other claw pressed against his chest. The elevator shook violently, lights flickering as if reacting to the creature's rage. Then, in the flashing light, the creature's face came close, those glowing eyes staring into his soul, its broken teeth inches from his face. Noah screamed louder than ever. Noah struggled as hard as he could, but the creature's grip was like iron. His wrist burned where its claws dug into his skin. He kicked at its thin body, but his foot passed through it like smoke. It wasn't fully solid. It wasn't fully real. The elevator lights flickered rapidly now, flashing between bright white and dark red. The metal walls groaned like they were being crushed. Suddenly, with a loud clang, the elevator jerked violently, making Noah lose his balance and fall to the floor. He scrambled to grab his phone, but the creature stepped on it with a heavy thud, crushing it into pieces. Now, the only light came from the small red bulb above, painting everything in a bloody glow. The creature bent down slowly, its long neck twisting unnaturally as its pale, glowing eyes stared right into Noah's. Its grin stretched wider, splitting its face like a broken mask. Then the elevator dinged. The doors opened. Noah's heart leapt with hope, but it died the next second. It wasn't the ground floor. It wasn't any floor at all. Outside the elevator was a dark hallway that seemed endless. The walls were black, wet, and pulsing as if alive. No lights, no sounds, except a deep rumble that felt like breathing from the darkness itself. Noah's body froze. "No, no, no, no," he whispered. The creature pulled him up effortlessly. Its claws dug deeper into his arms, making him scream in pain. Then, without a word, it dragged him out of the elevator and into the black corridor. The doors closed slowly behind them. For a second, Noah saw his reflection on the shiny metal doors, his own terrified face disappearing into the darkness. The elevator began to rise again, smoothly, like nothing had happened. When the doors opened at the top floor, the elevator was empty. But on the mirror-like walls inside, faint letters had appeared, written in something dark and dripping. What would you do if this happened to you? Would you survive, or would you never be seen again? If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more terrifying stories like this. Don't forget to turn on the bell icon so you never miss a nightmare. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the real horror begins when you're all alone.